You know, it's kind of wild to think that not all that long ago, if you wanted to watch a movie at home, you likely had to trek out to a store.
Oh, absolutely. No instant streaming back then.
And here's a fun fact. The whole video rental craze really took off in the 80s, partly because VCRs and the tapes themselves, they were just so expensive.
Right.
Buying them wasn't really an option for most people.
Yeah, renting was the affordable way in. Necessity, like you said earlier, it really fueled that whole industry. That high cost created the perfect gap in the market.
Exactly. Well, today on Seeking History, we're winding back the clock to look at Blockbuster Video.
Ah, Friday nights.
Right. A name so many of us remember. But this isn't just, a nostalgia trip.
No, there's a lot more to it.
The rise and fall of Blockbuster, it tells this fascinating story about, well, how we've consumed entertainment over the years, societal shifts in leisure time.
Economic forces, too.
Yeah.
Big time. How retail can boom and bust.
Yeah, the media business itself, and of course that relentless march of technology. It's a really rich historical case study, actually.
It truly is. Blockbuster's story, it touches on so many key parts of recent history. Lots of lessons there, about business, culture, adapting, or not adapting.
Okay, so let's go back, the beginning. Blockbuster was founded in Dallas, Texas, October 19th, 1985.
Yep, by a guy named David Cook.
Now, what's interesting here is Cook wasn't some Hollywood insider, was he? His background was totally different.
Not at all. He came from software services, specifically for the oil and gas industry.
Oil and gas, how did that connect to video rentals?
Well, it seems worlds apart. But Cook's experience managing huge amounts of data, that was key.
Data.
From his software company, Cook Data Services. It gave Blockbuster a big early advantage. He understood inventory tracking, analyzing trends, what people were renting.
Better than the average mom-and-pop video store, I bet.
Oh, definitely. They just couldn't compete on that level of sort of data sophistication.
So his tech background was actually super relevant, but the idea itself, that came from his wife, Sandy.
That's the story, yeah.
Yeah.
She was interested in the video business. Cook, being an entrepreneur, saw the potential. He even used profits from selling part of his software firm to invest in a franchise called VideoWorks first.
VideoWorks. But that didn't quite pan out, did it?
No, they had specific ideas about store design, branding. It clashed with Cook's vision, like his blue and yellow color scheme idea.
The classic Blockbuster colors.
Exactly. So he decided, typical entrepreneur move, I'll do it myself. Launched the first Blockbuster Video in '85. Blockbuster Video, Inc.
And the name Blockbuster,
Yeah.
straight from Hollywood jargon for a big hit.
Yeah, signaling ambition right from the start.
And they started big. That first store, what was it, 8,000 VHS tapes?
And 2000 Beta. Don't forget Beta.
Right, the format wars. That's a massive inventory for one store in 1985.
Huge. And that selection, plus Cook's data approach, meant they usually had what you wanted, even new releases. Big draw compared to competitors.
And they didn't stop at one store. Cook saw the growth potential, started franchising pretty quickly.
He did. And they backed it up with serious infrastructure. Invested, $6 million in a huge warehouse in Garland, Texas?
$6 million early on. That shows serious commitment to scaling up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That central distribution was crucial for rapid, efficient expansion. Plus, they were smart about tailoring inventory.
How so?
They'd adjust the movie selection in each store based on the local neighborhood demographics, cater to different tastes, maximize rentals, really localized.
Okay, so Blockbuster's off to a flying start. Very successful. But then the story takes a turn. Wayne Huizenga enters the picture.
Ah, yes. Mr. Waste Management himself.
From trash to tapes. How did that happen?
Well, Huizenga was a serial entrepreneur, always looking for scalable models. He wasn't totally sold on video rentals at first, but in '87, he was persuaded to buy a few Blockbuster stores. His associate, John Melk, was really impressed by their efficiency, the family-friendly vibe.
Right, the no adult films policy.
Exactly. And just the potential for national scale.
And once Huizenga and Melk got involved, things really took off, didn't they? Hyperdrive growth?
Oh, yeah. They basically took their waste management playbook, added some lessons from Ray Kroc and McDonald's.
And just applied it to video stores.
Pretty much. At one point, they were opening a new Blockbuster store every single day.
Every day. That's astounding.
Insane pace. And they bought up lots of the existing franchises, too. Tightened corporate control, ensured brand consistency. Plus, they started acquiring rivals,
like major video.
That was a big one, yeah. Consolidating their position.
And it wasn't just about stores. There was that legal fight with Nintendo in '89.
Oh, right. The video game rental battle. Nintendo tried to stop it.
Why? They thought it would hurt game sales.
That was the argument. Devalue the games. They sued. They lobbied. But Blockbuster won in court.
And that was a big deal.
Huge. It basically established that renting video games was legal. Opened up a massive new revenue stream for Blockbuster and everyone else. Really shaped the games industry's thinking.
Wow. Talk about expanding the model. And they branched out even more, sponsoring the Blockbuster Bowl in football from 1990.
Great for brand recognition. Made them seem like a cultural fixture.
It really did. And this period also saw them buying up other companies, right? Trying to build a bigger entertainment empire.
Definitely. They bought Errol's, another video chain, in '90. Then in '92, Sound Warehouse and Music Plus merged them to create Blockbuster Music.
Ah, Blockbuster Music. I remember those. So they were going into music retail, too.
Trying to be that one-stop entertainment shop.
Makes sense.
And it continued. 1993, they bought Spelling Entertainment Group.
The TV production company, Aaron Spelling.
The very same. And that same year, Superclub Retail Entertainment Corp. That brought in chains like Record Bar, Trax, Turtles.
More music stores.
Yep. Plus, they owned a big chunk of Republic Pictures, which later merged with Spelling. They were really building a conglomerate.
A true entertainment giant in the making. But even then, Huizenga started seeing storm clouds. Potential threats from new tech.
He was surprisingly forward-thinking on that. He saw stuff like video on demand coming, movies straight to your home, a big threat to the rental store model.
And cable TV growth worried him, too.
Yeah, pay-per-view, more channels.
Yeah.
And there was a sign in '91. Time Warner announced a cable system upgrade for more on demand. Blockbuster's stock price actually dipped right after.
Wow, so the market saw the threat, too.
It definitely registered. So Huizenga started looking at diversifying beyond just physical rentals.
What kind of things?
Well, in '93, Blockbuster invested heavily in Viacom. Huizenga even thought about buying a cable company, but decided against it.
Too far afield, maybe.
Perhaps. And there was that wild plan for a huge Blockbuster theme park in Florida.
A theme park? Seriously?
Yeah, a sports and amusement park concept. They were still talking about it in '94. Shows they were thinking broadly about entertainment experiences.
Fascinating. But in the end, Huizenga decided to sell Blockbuster. Too much uncertainty with the tech changes.
Seems that way. He opted out. In 1994, Viacom bought Blockbuster. Massive deal. $8.4 billion.
Why Viacom?
Well, Viacom wanted Blockbuster's cash flow and its retail footprint to help them win their bidding war for Paramount Pictures against QVC.
Ah, strategic leverage.
Exactly. But ironically, even with that huge price tag, some analysts felt Blockbuster's actual value decreased after the merger, maybe reflecting those anxieties about the future of rentals.
That says a lot about the shifting ground even back then. So, under Viacom, did things change much? They tried some new stuff, like that block party concept.
They did. Blockbuster Block Party was an experiment in a couple of cities in '94, sort of a big entertainment complex for adults.
What did it have?
Themed dining, arcades, laser tag, motion simulators, all in this big windowless building. A real departure from just renting videos, aiming for a destination feel.
Interesting. Trying to create an experience beyond the rental counter. And they kept expanding geographically too, right? Especially overseas.
Big push in the UK, bought the Ritz video chain, rebranded them all as Blockbuster, solidified their international presence.
And then a branding tweak in '96?
Yeah. Simplified the name, dropped the video, just became Blockbuster, and moved headquarters back to Dallas from Florida.
Okay, so a new era begins. New CEO John Antioco comes in 1997. And this period seems like it's full of really crucial decisions, some forks in the road.
Absolutely. And looking back, some massive missed opportunities.
Like what? What were the big moments under Antioco?
Well, one of the first, and maybe most critical, was in 1997. DVDs were emerging. Warner Bros. Comes to Blockbuster with an offer.
An exclusive deal.
Yeah, for DVD rentals. Give Blockbuster new DVD releases before they went on sale in exchange for a 40% cut of rental revenue. Same model as VHS.
That sounds amazing. A chance to own the new format right out of the gate.
You'd think so. Could have been huge. A massive competitive edge.
So what happened? Why didn't they take it?
They turned it down. The exact reasons. Maybe worried about hurting their VHS business. Maybe didn't see how fast DVDs would take over. Hard to say for sure.
And Warner Bros. Reaction.
That's where it really backfired on Blockbuster. Warner Bros. Basically said, okay, fine, and slashed their wholesale DVD prices. Made them cheap to buy.
Ouch. Opening the door for retailers.
Big time. Suddenly, mass retailers like Walmart could sell DVDs super cheap, sometimes as loss leaders, just to get people in the store.
So people started buying DVDs instead of renting.
Increasingly, yeah. And pretty soon, Walmart, not Blockbuster, was the movie studio's biggest source of revenue.
Wow. Passing on that Warner deal looks like a monumental mistake in hindsight. Undercut their whole model.
It really weakened their core rental business, yeah. They couldn't compete with those low retail prices. They tried other things, though.
Like what?
Started DEJ Productions in '98 to get exclusive movies for their stores. Didn't last, though. They sold it later. Bought Extravision, an Irish rental chain. Launched Blockbuster Rewards, the loyalty program.
Trying to keep customers loyal, adapting in smaller ways, but maybe missing the bigger picture. What about Blockbuster Music?
Gone by '99, Viacom sold it off to Warehouse Entertainment, a retreat from that diversification.
And then came some digital attempts that fizzled.
Yeah, the infamous Enron partnership in 2000 for video on demand.
With Enron. Dodged a bullet there, maybe?
Probably, given what happened to Enron. But then later that same year, 2000, the big one.
Let me guess. Netflix.
Bingo. Netflix, just a small DVD by mail startup back then, offered itself to Blockbuster for $50 million.
$50 million! It's unbelievable now.
Isn't it? Imagine how different things would be if Blockbuster had said yes. Netflix, of course, went on to basically invent modern streaming.
That decision. Turning down Netflix is like the ultimate business school case study now. What were they thinking?
Again, hard to know the exact internal thinking, but the consensus is they just underestimated DVD by mail, underestimated the shift online.
Too invested in the stores.
Probably. Saw Netflix as niche, not a real threat to their stores, and crucially, their late fee revenue, focused on the current cash cow.
Blinded by their own success, maybe. Did they try to catch up later with acquisitions?
They did make some moves, yeah. 2002, bought movie trading company, Game Station in the UK for gaming, and DVD Rental Central that became Blockbuster Online.
So some awareness was creeping in. Exploring online, gaming.
Yeah, signs they knew they needed new models. But maybe too little, too late.
And then Viacom spun them off in 2004. What happened post-spinoff?
They did ramp up Blockbuster Online, launched the Game Rush store-within-a-store concept for games, and they even tried a hostile takeover of Hollywood Video in 2004.
Their main competitor. Wow, aggressive.
Very. Trying to consolidate the shrinking physical market, maybe.
Did it work?
Nope. The FTC blocked it. Antitrust concerns. Blockbuster had to withdraw. Ironically, Hollywood Video ended up getting bought by Movie Gallery, which also went bankrupt later.
Man, the whole sector was under pressure. And this is when Carl Icahn got involved, the activist investor.
Yep, 2005. Launched a proxy fight. Worried about CEO pay, disagreed with Antiocho's strategy, added a lot of internal turmoil.
Conflict at the top, and then that no more late fees policy. That felt like a big shift.
It was meant to be customer-friendly, right?
Yep.
Launched in 2005. Get rid of that biggest customer complaint.
But it backfired.
Massively. Lots of lawsuits from state attorneys general. Said it was false advertising, because if you kept the movie too long, you were basically charged the full purchase price, got only a partial refund on return.
So not really no late fees then?
Not quite. They had to settle those suits, damage the brand, cost them money. A good idea, poorly executed, perhaps.
So attempts to adapt, but lots of missteps. Then the real tsunami hits, streaming takes off. How did they fight Netflix then?
2007, they launched Total Access, big campaign, cost $1 billion reported.
$1 billion? What was it?
Rent DVDs online, but you could also swap them in-store for free movies. A hybrid model, trying to leverage their physical stores against Netflix's mail-only service. Did it work at all? It actually gained some traction initially, grew subscribers, put some heat on Netflix. So much so that Reed Hastings, Netflix's CEO, actually approached Antiocho about buying Blockbuster's online business.
Wait, Hastings offered to buy Blockbuster Online? Another huge what if?
Exactly. But guess who stepped in?
Let me guess. Carl Icahn.
You got it. He argued Total Access was costing too much, killing profits. This led to Antiocho being pushed out as CEO in mid-2007. James Keyes came in.
And Keyes?
Keyes immediately rejected Hastings' offer. Then he raised the prices for Blockbuster Online and, crucially, killed the free in-store exchange.
The main differentiator.
Right. It basically stopped Blockbuster Online's growth dead in its tracks, handed the market back to Netflix, arguably.
Wow. Internal conflict really kneecapping their strategy. Did they try other streaming moves?
They bought MovieLink in 2007, an existing online video service. But under Keyes, they seemed to downplay Netflix and Redbox, focused more on Apple and Walmart as competitors.
Misreading the real thread again.
Seems like it. They even made that strange failed bid for Circuit City in 2008.
An electronics retailer on the ropes itself. Odd move.
Very odd, and then the inevitable started. Store closures accelerating around 2010.
The beginning of the end.
Pretty much. Pulled out of Portugal entirely in 2010, blamed piracy. Then, ironically, brought back late fees in the U.S., just called them additional daily rates.
Ha! Not fooling anyone there.
By March 2010, the official bankruptcy warning came out. Icon resigned, sold his stock, delisted from the NYSE in July.
Such a rapid fall from grace. And then Chapter 11.
September 2010. Filed for bankruptcy protection, cited massive debt, competition from Netflix, Redbox, VOD. Their old rival, Movie Gallery Hollywood Video, had already liquidated earlier that year. The whole industry was collapsing.
So bankruptcy, but not quite the final frame. Dish Network comes in.
Yeah, April 2011, Dish bought Blockbuster out of bankruptcy for $320 million.
What was their plan? Integrate it somehow.
There was some hope initially, maybe leverage the brand with their satellite TV base, but it didn't really happen. They closed all the Canadian stores soon after, tried a streaming service, Blockbuster Movie Pass for Dish subscribers. It flopped.
So Dish couldn't make it work either.
By late 2012, they'd pretty much scrapped any plans of making Blockbuster a real Netflix competitor. Then, late 2013, early 2014, they announced it, closing all remaining corporate stores in the U.S., shutting down the DVD by mail service, too.
And that was basically it for most people, the end of Blockbuster as we knew it.
For the vast majority, yes.
Yeah.
Though a few independent franchises clung on for a while longer.
But eventually.
One by one, they closed too. The last one outside the U.S., in New Zealand, shut in January 2020, leaving just one single Blockbuster left. Anywhere.
The famous one in Bend, Oregon.
The last Blockbuster on Earth. It's become this weird, tourist attraction, a living museum piece.
Didn't they list it on Airbnb? For 90 sleepovers?
They did. Total nostalgia play. And bizarrely, the old pre-Dish corporate shell, BB Liquidating Inc., its stock briefly surged during the GameStop frenzy, even though it's just nothing, really.
That is truly surreal. And didn't the website reactivate recently? With some cryptic message?
Yeah, 2023. Very strange. They did host a video game championship in 2022, too, so the name lingers, but a real comeback. Highly unlikely.
So, looking back at the whole arc, the rise, the fall, what were the core issues? It wasn't just technology, was it?
No, definitely not just tech. Their initial model, the revenue sharing with studios, that was smart for its time, focusing on new releases, big inventory, that worked for years.
Gave an edge over the little guys.
For sure. But maybe that focus on new limited things. Some argue it trained customers away from exploring film history, just wanting the latest hit.
Yeah.
And the no adult films policy, while good for image, cut out a market segment.
And they dabbled in other things, too. The awards show, the express kiosks, Discovery Zone.
Right. Mixed results there. International expansion was huge for a while, then retreated everywhere. Their online efforts, DVD by mail, streaming attempts, often felt half-hearted or undermined by internal decisions.
Like the total access reversal.
Exactly. And the advertising.
Yeah.
Those Carl and Ray commercials were iconic, but the No Late Fees campaign ended up being a PR headache. Ultimately, you hear it even from former insiders. Poor leadership choices, failure to adapt decisively, internal resistance. It was a perfect storm.
A truly powerful cautionary tale. A giant brought down by rapid change and maybe a bit of hubris or inflexibility.
Absolutely. It just hammers home how crucial it is, even for dominant players, to keep innovating, watch consumer shifts, and be willing to disrupt yourself before someone else does. Blockbuster's story is that stark reminder. Fail to see what's next, and you can get rewound right out of existence.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What giants today might seem unshakable but could face a similar fate? Who's missing the next big shift? Definitely something to chew on. And for you listening, what are your Blockbuster memories? How has your movie watching changed? It's a fascinating look not just at one company, but how our whole culture and technology keeps evolving.